Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Blown. Today we're going to go over 6 ways of communicating better with men. Make sure to watch until the end because this one might help you know how to understand the communication style of men. Everybody knows communication is the key to a good relationship. That's obvious. But men and women are different, very different when it comes to communication. And as a result, men and women might not understand each other much at the time. And there's a biological reason for that. Men and women process information differently. When they're engaged in a mental task, for example, in the man's brain, the areas involved in the task are concentrated in a few centers. However, in the woman's brain, multiple sites throughout the left and right hemispheres become active. So it's no wonder why men excel when focusing on one issue at a time, while women have an edge when it comes to multitasking. Even though men also try hard to understand women, the truth is that women are usually the ones wondering how to communicate with men and doing their best to see inside a man's brain. How to be a better communicator, how to be understood and listened to, how to communicate with a man who can't seem to have a mature conversation. Well, you've come to the right place because you're about to get all the answers you need. Here are 6 tips on how to communicate with men. 1. Find the right place and time to talk. It's not just about what you say and how you say it, but also where and when you say it. When you're trying to figure out how to communicate with men and become a better communicator, 2 more important aspects are the time and place of your talks. When choosing the place for your communication, make sure it's somewhere where you both feel safe and comfortable. If you two live together, the best place might be in your home. On the other hand, if you are not living together, try choosing a neutral place. Some don't function well at night after a long day, so if you're one of those couples, avoid discussions before bedtime. Also, both of your biorhythms are important here. Some people are cranky when they get up, so you might not want to start some serious topics before having your first coffee in the morning. Don't start some crucial topics while the two of you are in a crowded place or with friends. First and foremost, you can't hear each other properly this way, let alone have healthy communication. Don't do it while he's busy and in the middle of something. This way, your partner won't be able to give you his full attention and entirely focus on your discussion. 2. Use I statements instead of you statements. Good communication is the foundation for a good relationship. The words you share do matter, but how you share those words is perhaps even more important than the words themselves. Here, we've taken a look at essential differences between I and you statements and how you can use them to have better discussions with men. It sounds like a simple switch, but being a little more mindful of how you voice your concerns when you communicate with men can positively impact how much they can listen and hear what you're trying to say. Starting a sentence with I helps us talk about complicated feelings, say how the problem affects us, and stop others from feeling blamed. It forces us to take responsibility for our thoughts and feelings. Practice using I statements. Try one of the following practice exercises to help you form new habits around how you speak to your man. For 3 to 5 minutes, talk about a topic you love, starting every sentence with an I statement. You can do this with a friend, partner, family member, or just give it a go in front of the mirror. For 10 minutes, during a conversation with your partner, family, or friend, try to start every sentence with I. Let others know you are practicing this and ask them if they'd like to give it a go. Avoid using you as much as possible when speaking. If you feel like you need to say you or catch yourself using you, try substituting I and see if it will work and still make sense. 3. Be concrete and direct. Here is the challenging part. You have to be concrete and direct whenever you're communicating with men. You have to verbalize your emotions and thoughts in detail if you want to be comprehended in the right way. The truth which most women fail to accept is that men don't take hints. They don't understand mixed signals, have zero capacity for reading between the lines, and most importantly, they are not mind readers. Therefore, if you expect your partner to know that he's been doing something wrong just because it is clear and logical for you, think again. If you expect him to realize that he's been hurting you with a specific behavior without you pointing out his mistake, you'll be disappointed. If you expect him to change by you being passive-aggressive or giving him the silent treatment, trust me that you'll be waiting for ages, but nothing will happen. If you want him to know how you feel and what you think magically, you'll get nowhere. All of this means just one thing when it comes to men. There is no beating around the bush. Instead, if you expect success, explain to your guy in detail everything you want to say. 4. Listen to what he has to say. When communicating with men, we often focus on what we should say. However, effective communication is less about talking and more about listening. Listening well means not just understanding the words or the information he says, but also understanding the emotions that he is trying to convey. Listening is an essential part of effective communication. A good listener can encourage men to talk openly and honestly. Also, remember that it takes two to tango. In other words, it's important to recognize that there are two parts to any conversation, and the person who's trying to listen actively. Below, you'll learn the best ways to become a better listener to men. Body language counts. You don't just listen to men with your ears, you also listen with your body. So be sure that your eyes are on his eyes and you're leaning forward. These nonverbal cues show that you're listening. Ditch the distractions. Try to eliminate all the distractions that may influence the ability to focus on your guy. That includes turning off the computer and TV and muting your cell phone. Yes, that means you shouldn't text either. Listen to the entire conversation. This sounds easy enough, but most of us don't do it. We're too busy building our case. For instance, if you're a Democrat and you're listening to a Republican talk about smaller government, your ears will be focused on what you disagree with, like a debater. Debaters tend to prove that they're right and the other is wrong. Couples don't. 5. Be honest about your feelings. The basis of every healthy relationship is open communication, and all effective communication is honesty. You can't expect to achieve anything or reach your goals if you lie or deceive the person you're talking to. Therefore, you simply must be 100% honest about your feelings and thoughts when communicating with your guy, which can't be stressed enough. First of all, you have to be honest with yourself. You have the capacity to recognize your emotions, accept them, and finally assess them before presenting them to your significant other. Finally, please don't be ashamed of your emotions. They don't make you weak, and you won't appear desperate if you acknowledge them. Instead, being honest about your feelings and standing up for them is a sign of maturity. Being vulnerable is a sign of an incredible inner strength you may not have. Stop avoiding the issue and start speaking up. A man wants you to be honest and straightforward with him. This is what men like so much about the way they communicate with one another. And certain women's inability to be open and direct drives men nuts. If they are planning something that you disagree with, they want you to let them know at the start, as soon as possible, before it becomes a more significant issue or concern. Understand the real reason he gets upset with you. Men don't automatically get upset when you let them know how you feel about something. They get upset when they see that you are upset. See, for most men, when a woman tells them something that isn't great about their relationship, men take it very personally. He'll instantly feel like you are blaming him, even though you might not be. Why? Men like to think and believe that the woman they're with respects them and sees them as great men. So when a woman shares something that isn't positive, a man will take it as you thinking that he's not good enough. And not just that something happened in your relationship that can easily be changed or improved in the future. Create a safe space for both of you to open up. By safe, I mean telling a man that what you think, feel, and need will not jeopardize your connection, but instead make it stronger. Sit down with him today at some time when you're both settled and relaxed. Tell him that you respect his feelings and that you appreciate the way he respects yours. Then explain that communicating as early as possible and allowing that safe space to tell each other how you feel and that you need to be open and honest with each other at that moment is crucial to your happiness, yours and his. 6. Open with a positive statement. If you're wondering how to communicate with men, the important thing is not to be negative while making a point. Instead, try using positive statements while talking to your guy. What are positive statements and how do they differ from negative ones? Well, for example, let's say you want to tell your partner that you're bothered by the amount of time you two spend together. You feel emotionally neglected and think that he isn't giving you enough of his attention. Your first impulse will probably be to attack him. It's to tell him that everyone and everything seems to be more important than you, and to accuse him of not loving you enough. This is where you would be wrong. Each of these sentences is a negative statement, and it can potentially turn into an unnecessary fight instead of giving you what you want. Therefore, it's time to change your ways of communicating. Instead of telling your partner any of the things mentioned, try using a different approach. For example, tell him how much you miss him and that you would enjoy spending more time with him. Propose an activity that would suit you both. Also, tell him that you're aware of all the good things he does for your relationship. State that you're not criticizing him and that you're only looking for ways to improve things between you two. Knowing how to communicate with your man effectively can undoubtedly be the keystone of a robust relationship. A large part of this lies in accepting that men and women talk differently and understand differently. While not much can be done about inherent differences between genders, we can certainly work around these issues to get men and women talking. Meeting the man halfway is a great way to foster accessible communication and build strong relationships. Using this list as a guide can set you on the right path to better communication. It doesn't happen overnight, though. Better communication and understanding between partners takes work from both of you. This can't be a one-sided effort. You both need to be willing to make changes to bridge the divide. If you find this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.